everybody, welcome back to my channel. This is I've Got Your Number and I'm your host Tracy Vertucci. If you have not yet subscribed to this channel, would you just do it? Please. Just do it. I mean, what do you have to lose? What's the worst thing that could happen? You might get a video from me once every 3 months, you know? You can like it too. If you want to. If you don't like it, I just want you to like it anyway. That being said, today we are tackling the Orrin and Orson West case. Who else wants to say Orson Welles? It's fucking with me. Okay, anyways. But what we're really unpacking, when I say we, that's me and my inner child, are unpacking is that press conference. I knew nothing of this case until I heard that on the news and I was like, what? What was it? What? Okay, so you can tell when someone's had some time to work on their story. And if the past has taught us anything, it's that we've watched people botch their press conferences and their speaking to the public. So we watched Letitia with her back turned. We watched Chris Watts swaying back and forth and saying, I have no inclination as to where they are. I have no inclination. This time we've got COVID. So we've got Trezell in his full neck gaiter all the way down, covering everything but this. And then the pits. This. What is this? Superstar. What was that? Then we have Jacqueline rocking back and forth, and looking around. Back and forth. What is she looking for? We know what she's not looking for, and that is those kids, because those kids are not there. They have not been around there, and I don't think have ever been around there. Now, let me preface this by saying this is an opinion piece. I am going to tell you my observations, and yes, I will throw some numerology in here and see what we're looking at. But it's the subtleties, because you can tell that they studied this for quite a long time. I'm going to say months that they have studied for this story. Yep, I said it. Months. Shoo. Anywho, let's get started. Let's get started. Let's do it. So the first thing that struck me was the lack of panic, the lack of emotion, the lack of caring. This was all self-preservation. Any concern that you saw on their face was self-preservation. They are trying to save their skin and their meal ticket, because they actually get money from the state in order to foster children as well as the adopted children. If you claim someone to be special needs, you get even more money. So they were getting money for these children. So of course you're not going to want to lose one of those, but you need to be prepared in the event that something should happen to them, whether it be an accident or on purpose. So these people have had some time to come to terms with the loss of these boys, because that panic, that fear, that concern is behind them. And you can see that because they're not crying, they're not panicking. He speaks very matter of fact. It's all lined up. Okay. Now, Trezell's birthday is, and let me look, his birthday is 9/24/1986. That makes him a 57. Now 57 breaks down to a 3 eventually. I was in a 2-year relationship with someone with this number, and yes, he had a heart, but he could lie with such detail effortlessly. It actually threw me off, because he had gotten a job out of state and we needed to get out of a lease, and he literally told the most ungodly lie to this guy, and I just sat there because I had no idea he was going to do this. So I sat there watching, just like, I can't believe you just said that. Like, with detail, with extreme detail, instead of just saying, hey, I took a job out of state, we need to get out of this lease, what can we do, what are our options? He spun this web, very detailed web of his sister being ill, this and that. And it worked for him, right? But for me, it was a little off-putting, because I'm like, wow, if you can lie at the drop of a hat with such detail, what else are you lying about? So you'll see people who use their quick mind with the 5, with the 7 intellect, which helps you go and cover all the bases, okay? And then that 3 of expression, that's how they express. Now, his outer personality is a 59, which is a 5 of swords, okay? So we know that that can be someone who stabs you in the back. I find people that work a 59 can be real shit talkers. Like, they will be friends to your face, and then as soon as you turn around, they talk shit behind your back. Can be that. I wouldn't cross them just because you never know, but their mind is always going, always thinking of the next thing. Now, Jacqueline, I don't have her birth info. I've got her birth date, but I don't have her maiden name. And I jumped through as many channels as I could, but she is a 45, which is a 9, and that is your 9, what am I saying? 4 of Cups. No, it's not. What the hell is wrong with you? 5 of Cups. The 5 of Cups. She's a 5 of Cups, which means crying over spilled milk, looking over the past, seeing everything that she's lost. Now, when I look at the dynamic between the two of them, he is in control. He is wearing the pants. She's a side piece. He never refers to her by name. He says, my wife, my wife. The boys, my wife. That's it. The kids, my wife. That's it. There's no names. And you're going to see here, when she strays off the plan, first words out of her mouth, check this out. No, wait. I mean, check out the look he gives her when she doesn't go according to plan. Check it out.
We felt so helpless, and seeing everybody out here really looking and helping out really means a lot.
So, tell us what happened the night the kids went missing.
Okay.
From our yard.
Okay.
So you can see, as soon as she says, from our yard, he does one of these, like, he gives her a look without trying to be obvious. He's trying not to be obvious about it, but he looks right at her like, shut the fuck up. I'm handling this, okay? Which then also speaks to his power in the family, in the home, in the relationship. So when he said that he was going to have the kids go out on the cement, do not let them go out, like with emphasis on the do not let them go out in the dirt. Well, why? You've got a huge yard. Why would you keep them in one little area, you know, when it's probably not that cold during this time, just because, I mean, yes, it's winter in California, but it's, that place gets hella hot. Okay. So, it was that do not let them go on the dirt. So his tone caught me first. But then the other thing that caught me is that because if they go out on the dirt, they can be picked up by camera, and nobody's ever seen these children since they've lived there. So he's covering his bases. Remember, what would Letitia do? This is what Letitia would do. He's just a little less obvious than Letitia. So let's play the clip.
It was cold. I was going to make a fire. So a lot of wood in this area right here next to our house. I opened up the back gate. I'm throwing wood, bringing it inside the house. My wife's inside. She was actually wrapping gifts, so we thought it was a good idea that our youngest two would go outside and play with chalk on the back patio. Do not let them go on the dirt in the backyard. We keep them close. So I was playing with chalk, and I came in the house. I saw them there. I went in the house. I came back out. I didn't see them there. I immediately went back in, asked my wife, did you see the boys? She said no, they should be outside playing with chalk.
Did anybody notice Jacqueline's demeanor while he was spinning that story? She was very uncomfortable. She was literally looking down and looking side to side. She was uncomfortable with what he was saying, okay? So in the next clip, he may be paraphrasing here, but this is the thing. It's been rehearsed so many times. You can tell by his matter-of-fact tone. It was cold. I was going to make a fire. I went out, opened the gate, go through wood, you know, everything. It's been rehearsed over and over and over again so that he doesn't slip up. Okay, but here's the part that threw me off. Okay, so now I've seen the layout of the house. I know you can go in a side door into the garage, or there's the sliding glass door into the house. So if he's keeping them close and they're by the door, the sliding glass door, the gate where it opens up, does it open from the back or does it open from the side of the house? I'm not sure. So where is he bringing the wood into? And is he passing them on the way? Is he bringing it in through the sliding glass door into the house? Or is he bringing it in through the garage and into the house? I don't know. But this is what bothered me, because if they're keeping them close and they're keeping an eye, why, when he went into the house, would he say, "Have you seen the boys?" You wouldn't say that, because you're assuming that they're still where you left them, right? So you would say, where are the boys? Are the boys in their room? Oh, you let the kids come back in? Have you seen the boys? No, that's not a normal conversation that you would have. No. And again, he might have been paraphrasing because they've rehearsed this so many times, maybe it's changed. But for me, putting myself in that position, if I just walked past you into the house to go take the wood in, I know where you are, okay? And if you're not there, then you must be back in the house. So you wouldn't say, "Have you seen the boys?" That house isn't big. It would be, "Where are the kids? Are the boys in their room?" It was just too rehearsed, in my opinion. Let's check this out. So for this next clip, I'm going to play it first, and then I'm going to talk about it, and I'm going to read the notes I wrote because I had so many. And I'm also going to eat these Easter M&Ms that I got to make a gingerbread house with that will probably never make it there because I'm going to eat them all. Okay, but let's watch this clip.
I said, well, I didn't see them, so I came back outside and I started searching my backyard. I searched the whole thing. I realized that I left the gate open, and I panicked, came inside the house, searched the house, me and my wife. Once that didn't pan out, I got in the van. I looked down the street, both directions. It was getting dark, getting cold, and I got in the van and I hit a bunch of corners. I went down this street. I turned my light on. I searched. I called their names. Talked to a gentleman on the street on the other side over there. He didn't see me. So then I came home and I told my wife we need to call the cops. It's getting dark and I need help. We gotta get going. So I called the cops. Cops came. First thing they did was tell us to stay in the house so they can get a hold of us. And they had us just sitting there, and we wanted to keep searching. But everybody came out in droves, and I wanted to thank you guys that night, but we couldn't go outside.
Okay, where to start? Don't you hate it when somebody says where to start? That's such a Karen thing. It's like a Karen, no offense to Karens, gets on Yelp and says where to start. And then they write a paragraph this long about how much they hate you. But I digress. Okay. If they were only gone for a few minutes, why did you get in your car to go look for them? And especially if there's fields around your house, why did you not go on foot and follow the steps outside the gate and find them on foot? Also, what are the chances that a random kidnapper is just going to happen to be there the moment your children escaped from the gate? And yes, I said escaped. Why would they even go out of the gate at all? Why would that, you know, what, they can't resist? Like, oh my God, the gate's open, I must run, I have to go. And I'm going to get back to that in a minute, because he's setting a tone that maybe just because that gate's open, they're going to run on out of there. Okay? And how long were they left unattended? Really? How long was he in the house? It's a big fucking if his story's true, how long was he in the house before he came back out and realized that they weren't there and then went back in and said, have you seen the kids? Like he wasn't just in there 2 seconds before. He drove around for 6 minutes. They have him on camera, 6 full minutes. then comes back and tells his wife that they need to call the cops. If your child is missing, do you search for 6 minutes and say, well, fuck it, can't find him, guess I'll call the cops? Or do you call the cops from your cell phone while you are going in every single nook and cranny trying to find your kids, as well as calling everybody that you know, engaging all of the neighbors, asking them what's going on? Can I look at your cameras? No. 6 minutes, I hit every corner. Well, they weren't there. They couldn't have gotten far, he says later on in the interview. Though they couldn't have gotten far. Well, if they couldn't have gotten far, then why are you in your fucking car? Why are you not out walking? Does the little boy still have a broken leg, or was that back in 2019? I don't know. So many holes in this. He had to drive around long enough to see somebody outside so he could engage that one bystander and say, have you seen the kids? But the way he worded it, not in this part, but when he goes back and reiterates it later, have you seen 2 little black kids? Not, have you seen my sons? You know, have you seen my little boys? Have you seen 2 little black kids? And I don't know why I found that so off-putting, but I just did. But I want to thank you guys for coming out. You know, we wanted to do it ourselves, but they wouldn't let us go outside. Deflect. I'm the good guy here. Oh, thank you. Nice pat on the back. Oh, yeah, keep helping me out here, guys. You're the best. It's such bullshit. Okay, so what else did I get? Now, okay, so when they look at the neighbors' cameras, they see no footage of anybody walking into the gate or out. Those boys never left the gate, and no stranger came into the gate. No. So either the boys are invisible, or an invisible person came in and then turned them invisible with their invisible powder, shook it on the boys, and then they just went out the gate. What the fuck? Okay. Now, the way I see it is that he needs to, part of his plan, and I'm sure you guys are all hip to this as well, part of his plan is, okay, I gotta make an effort, gotta make it look like I went out and looked. 6 minutes. She didn't look. She didn't do shit. She sat there waiting for it to play out. Okay? Now we've got to have one person so that that one witness can say, oh, yeah, he came up and asked me if I'd seen 2 little black kids. Okay? But it was getting cold. And he was getting uncomfortable. So now it's time to stand in his yard and wait for the cops to come for like 14 minutes. Superstar! Now, here's the part that I noticed the most was how much that anything she said, he had to say. Okay? And some people were like, oh, he's echoing her. No, he's not echoing her. She's saying something. I will say it. You have no credibility. It's like, get in your place, wife. That's the way I took it. And I'm not a feminist. I'm none of that. But if she'd start to say it, then he'd say it. Like, almost like someone's saying something off mic, but you're the only one holding the mic, so you have to say it. But they both have microphones in front of them. They can both be heard equally. As she's saying it, he's interrupting her to repeat it. And it's more of a, I said I would handle this. This is under control. Okay? You need not speak. It was just, that was just my impression. I don't know. I could be wrong. I might be nitpicking, but yeah, he repeats everything that she says. And very rarely does he let her get 3 words out of her own mouth before he has to pipe in with his own.
The cops told us the best are out here.
The best are out here searching, and we appreciate it. And nobody ever could tell. We could never talk to anybody, and that was the issue.
We just want to thank everybody.
We really want to thank you guys.
Please, if anybody has seen them, please call. Let somebody know.
Call the cops. Call California, the city police department. Call them and let them know what you've seen, if you see anything.
So I was keeping a somewhat open mind on this press conference right until we got to this point here when they asked them to describe the boys. Check this out.
Our boys, they are going to be rambunctious, okay? They are going to be here in this area And I really would like to go in the houses, but it's not because I want to invade people's privacy. I just want to know if
Make
they
sure.
make sure.
The boys are going to be, and Jacqueline starts going, rambunctious. What? Rambunctious. Not scared, not cold, not hurting. Rambunctious. I was fucking floored. I was floored. Rambunctious. This to me said, you think those boys are ill-behaved, wild, out of control, that it just triggered something in me as soon as he described them that way. If your boys wandered out of your gate, they're going to be cold and scared. If they can't find their way back home, or if somebody has grabbed them, they're going to be freaking out, scared. They're not going to be rambunctious. You want to go into people's houses not to invade their privacy, but just to check? Why? Because they're not going to notice two rambunctious, wrestling, playful boys in their living room? What the fuck are you talking about? This here is where his story went whoosh. We just want to check the houses just to make sure, you know, because they're going to be rambunctious and they're going to be wrestling with each other and they get really rough with each other. Well, his descriptions of these kids blows my fucking mind, okay? Never. My poor boys. They must be so scared. They're going to be so scared. They're going to be cold, you know. Did you hear what they were wearing last time? And they never mentioned what they were wearing. Did you ever notice that they never mentioned what they were wearing? It says on the picture, wearing black hoodies and gray sweats. Wow, that's very generic. That's good. No logos, no nothing. Rambunctious. I couldn't fucking believe it. Yeah. So anywho, now he wants to go into people's houses and yeah. And here's the thing. It's like when he describes them this way, it's like, oh, so if there was an open gate, they would just race right out and go over to the neighbor's house and start wrestling and playing in their living room, you know, because they're just so rambunctious and so playful. Really? Really? Here's another part. Whenever they're not prepared for a question, they start stumbling over their words. It's like, well, that's the point. That's the point. Well, that's what I'm saying. Well, that's like, and it doesn't make any sense. As opposed to, we did this. I went here, 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 here. My wife did this, 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 this. But when they get sided by a question that they don't really prep for, they lose it. They lose their shit, right? But watch here. When the reporter says, I can't imagine what you're going through, watch Trezell cock his head, puts his head down, cocks it to the side, and his eyes get real big and haunted. He is remembering an event. And I think it's a very real event that he's remembering, but it's not from recently. It's from a ways back. But you can see him kind of get a look to him. So check this out. Watch this.
Guys, I can't imagine what you guys are going through. I can't even fathom it. For you guys, for people who are thinking that there's some kind of foul play involved, you know, we just spoke to the biological mother. She says she had a conversation with you guys, and that she thinks there's some kind of foul play involved. That she thinks you guys did something.
And that's understandable.
What's your response to that?
That's understandable. I would think the same thing.
Yep.
I mean, that's exactly the point. And if we can find our babies, then guess what? That's no. And that's all I want is to find our babies. That's it. And I talked to her this morning, and I really wanted to tell her that I am completely sorry because we were entrusted with her children, and they came to us, and they became our children, and we named them, and they are our children, and so we want them back.
In that clip, you see Trezell actually show as much emotion as he can muster up at this moment. I think he is sorry for what happened to her boys. I really do. If I was to guess, I would say he didn't purposely do anything to these kids, but I think something happened to these kids under his watch and he was responsible. Yeah. And now this is the cover-up. because everything's just too laid out, too rehearsed. And then when they catch him and he starts to remember, that's when he starts to get a little cracked in his voice. And she's just in a state of like total disbelief. Like, I feel like this is what's popping in my head. I don't know. That there was a threat made that, you know, if I go down, you're going down with me because I'm, you know, you were in on it too or something. Okay. So then he says that he wants to, that the cops take his phone, I'm sure just to rule him out. And this is a classic thing that people always say, yeah, well, they're just going to, you know, rule us out. And that's fine. That's fine. Yeah, I'm great with it. I'm cool. No, they didn't even need a search warrant. They can come in and look anywhere. They can do whatever they want. That's fine. Well, of course, because they're not going to find anything. They're going to find the kids' belongings because they need their scent. They've thought that out. They're not going to find any signs of a struggle, no signs of foul play, no signs of anything broken, no signs of somebody being hurt in the house because there are no signs there. And the fact that the dogs didn't find their scent outside, they weren't out there, okay? They were in the house because their belongings are in the house. Okay, so what else do I have here? You know, they didn't need we didn't need a search warrant. That's okay. They just want to rule us out. But this is the part that gets to me. And let's take a look here.
They took all of our tech, so they wanted to, I guess, just rule us out, which makes sense. That's part of the investigation.
So you guys willfully gave them your
Everything.
technology,
Yes.
the car.
Yes.
How did they get a search warrant? Did you guys?
I
no
don't see
idea.
why they got one, but they got one. We
Yeah,
would
they
have let them
didn't
take
need one,
anything.
but-
We would have let them take everything. We let them come in and search with us. We asked them to come do that.
What did they take?
Just tech.
Well, now I'm starting to get a clearer picture as to why Trezell does not want Jacqueline to speak. Because Jacqueline keeps dropping these little truth bombs. Okay, so, and this was so fucking annoying when you watch it. That's how everything played out. That's how everything played out. When did you first call the cops? She says, after we searched a little bit. Dismissive, flippant, and yes, a very little bit. You searched a very little bit. I think their biggest misstep was not realizing how many cameras were around. Everybody's got a Ring doorbell. People got cameras out their backyard, out the front yard. What they managed to catch on camera was the first part of Teabag Part 2's plan, which was ushering the remaining 4 children out to the van about 11 a.m. and sending them off to grandmother's house or whatever they did, okay? Then they came home to discuss and solidify Part 2 of the play so it can play out. There's a little bit of truth in every lie, and we need to remember that.
Yeah, we seriously felt like we needed to be out here. We did. Again, we were told the best are out here looking already. Just to stay put, they have more questions. There was literally a cop with us the whole time in
And
there.
He had sitting down. We would ask, can we go help? They had to sit
Said
down.
nope.
He said, no, we got the best out there.
So
we
it's
need
not-
you guys here in case we have more questions.
I don't want you guys thinking we
don't.
didn't try. We actually
We
looked
tried.
before we called.
At what time did you guys notice your kids went missing, and at what time were they reported missing to the police?
It's about, I believe, I think it was about 4:30, going on 5. It was getting dark, like I said,
5-ish.
5-ish. That's about it. That's when everything played out.
And then when did you guys call the police to report them missing?
I don't,
After we searched
yeah.
a little bit around here, it was dark, so we definitely we got worried.
Would you say it was maybe within an hour, a couple hours?
No, it was within minutes of us getting finished with our search.
Okay.
It was within minutes.
What do you guys want people at home to understand about this situation? For them, you know, even speaking about what you guys are feeling is difficult. What do you want them at home to understand about this whole situation?
We're going through it. It's difficult. I mean, everybody's making their own
I'll take what is assumptions for 500, please, Alex. So what do you want people out there to know? And Jackie says, we're going through it. You're going through it, not my boys. What are your boys going through? My boys are missing. I miss them. I want them. I want them back, because I want them back is just whatever, overdone. What are your kids going through? This is all about you. Once again, damage control, damage control. We're going through it. Oh, yeah, I can see why. I can absolutely see why.
Would you be willing to provide pictures, or do you have any of the
They,
kids?
I have older pictures. All my newest were on my phone.
Okay, that's fine.
A lot of people are speaking of this as, you know, after the math, past tense. I want to talk about your kids in present tense. What kind of boys are these? Tell us about the boys.
Very playful, very rambunctious, and they do love to wrestle. They do love to kind of get rough with each
They're
other.
kids.
They're kids.
Outstanding. Another stellar performance from the caring parents. They're rambunctious. They like to wrestle. Is that they're out of control? They're wild kids? Where is the love? Where is the love? They're sweet. They're sweet. Little boys. They have the best hearts. I miss them. What the fuck is going on here? It's so nonchalant. Matter of fact. They have not said one nice thing about these boys. Not one.
Of course, they would love to go out, but so during the pandemic, we wasn't trying to go, out here. And so we stayed inside.
Of course, they would love to go out, but because of the pandemic, we weren't trying to do that here in California City, here. Okay, you used to live in an apartment in Bakersfield. You've now bought a home, a shitty home, but a home in California City with a big fenced-in backyard where your children can play, even during a pandemic. Imagine that. They are free to run wild. Well, we weren't trying to do that here because of the pandemic. Okay, he's going into damage control again. Why? Because nobody's ever seen them on a camera. The neighbors never saw him. He knew this, right? We weren't trying to do that here. But he's going to catch himself very shortly.
And why did it take two people to go in the house and leave two kids out here by themselves? It should have been one parent going in and one parent right here watching the child. Not two parents going in the house and leaving two little kids out here by themselves for 10 minutes.
No, they were in the backyard.
So when confronted by an angry family member who asks, why did you leave them by themselves? He says, well, they were in the backyard. Okay, so which one is it? We don't let them go in the backyard, or we do let them go in the backyard? We're not letting them go out around here. And which is still lending itself to this story. But I left the gate open, so therefore they escaped. Why do they need to escape your backyard? And how long, once again, if what he's saying is true, how long were they unattended? If he's saying it was only 10 minutes, and they managed to escape and get kidnapped in 10 minutes? Damn, I mean, the timing of it is perfect. Here's the truth. A fenced-in backyard is very, very safe for children to play in. Not only are they not tall enough to reach the latch nor to let themselves out, they're fine. They're not going to go anywhere. Unless they're in such a horrible situation that if you left the gate open, they would literally run out the door. Like when you leave the door open for your cat and they run out because they're just dying to get on the other side of the door. I'm not saying that my cats want to escape, because my cats are still here and they're just fine. Okay. Don't judge me. Okay?
For a mother's intuition, I know you were saying, and we'll get your names after this, but you were saying how you feel like they're in this area. Do you feel the same way? And what is the intuition? What is the sense you get? What do you think happened to your boys? Do you think someone took them? Do you think they're lost? Do you think?
Yeah, definitely. I definitely know they're not walking around. They're not that kind. They do not just roam around. You know, these patches, I think definitely would have been picked up or something.
What does your mother's intuition tell you? Well, they wouldn't just be wandering around. They're not that kind. You mean they're not the rambunctious type that if a gate was open, they'd go running out the door? They wouldn't be playful and now they're slacker couch potatoes that don't do shit? Which one is it? Okay, because what you just described, once again, truth bomb, is not the way that your husband has described them. They're not that kind. What? They're not that kind? Well, from what I heard from your husband is that they're rambunctious, they're playful. It sounds like they might even be a little bit curious. So now you're telling me that they wouldn't be wandering around these parts. They wouldn't just be wandering around. No, they're not that kind. What kind are they? They are the kind that wouldn't be wandering around because they've never been there. They've never lived there. And yeah, I'm sticking to that story. I'm sticking to that narrative. When the neighbors, I saw a video speaking to the neighbor that has the property behind them. She's got a camera. She hears everything. She knows everything. No children. Never heard a sound out of them. Has never seen them. Nothing. So in part 2, we're going to cover everyone's numerology and where they were. Going back a few months. I do believe that the children were left unattended. I absolutely do believe that that's a truthful statement. I don't believe that they were left unattended at this home. That's where we differ. I do believe something bad happened to them as a result of being left unattended. We're going to cover that soon. If you haven't already liked the video, like the video. If you dislike the video, like the video. And don't forget to subscribe. Thanks for tuning in. We'll talk soon.